Here we go. Hey, Tony, what's happening? We're on here. Step 5.
Wow, David, 2 weeks in a row. What's going on, brother?
I don't know, man. It feels good
Yeah.
to keep talking about this stuff.
Oh, man.
And why do I need to keep working on this stuff?
Yeah. When's the cure? Right? It's kind
Well,
of like COVID. There's no cure. You just need another shot, another shot, another shot.
Didn't Bill Wilson have like a real spiritual moment where the heavens parted, and then was he cured? Was he dead?
I think not. I think he's only given a reprieve.
Daily upon what?
It's your life juice. You decide how happy you want to be. The less program you get, the less happiness you have, for me.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
And I've learned that the more I'm in the program, the less the real world bothers me, the less I have problems, the less I have people that don't understand me because I'm surrounded by people as sick as I am.
Yeah.
That's where the solution is.
Yeah.
I can't talk to one normally about the way my brain thinks. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. What do they say?
Well, they look at me like I'm fucking batshit crazy, right?
Well, they say AA is a cult, or they'll say AA, they'll start, I think, putting other negative connotations on other groups. Don't you kind of feel some of that?
Sure.
I brought that to AA. Remember when I came in? I brought all these negative other connotations, maybe from other organizations, to a thing I didn't even investigate.
It's contempt prior to investigation.
Isn't that interesting?
And nobody wants to be called an alcoholic.
No.
It wasn't my high school plan. But if you told me, by using these simple terms and doing this, you'll relieve your biggest character defect, I'd have signed up years ago. Well, probably not, because I still didn't believe you. But now, hey, I'm a lot of things, but being sober makes me better as a human being. Yeah. And I'm able to be productive and give back and be of service instead of take, never give.
Yeah. So how easy was it for you to admit step 5? Admit your character.
Writing it down was hard.
Writing
it down was hard. Just that was hard. And then I had to share it.
Look somebody in the eyeballs.
Oh my God, that was over 2 days, almost 4 hours a day, 6 hours a day.
How far along sober were you when you did it?
I was 2 years sober, and even then, when you dig in, you pray for rain, you're going to get the mud, right? Too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the feelings that I had suppressed so far that writing them brought them close to the surface, and then just the thought of speaking it out loud to another human being
who's listening, who's actively. Because my alcoholic friends weren't really listening to me.
Oh, that'd be great if I could have done that. I could have gone to a bar and done that. Would have been great.
If they were focusing and looking at me.
Yeah, and you're worried about being judged.
Yeah.
All right, and then what I've learned
shame.
Shame. The guilt, the shame, the judgment, and it's demoralizing to think, God, what a rotten person I had been for so long. Who is this guy?
Yeah. Well, and I was starting to get inclination of I didn't have to do that. Like I didn't have to get out of the car with a baseball bat. I could have just let it go.
Exactly.
You cut me off, and in my 4, I go, oh yeah, I was taking a baseball bat, and you have to do that. Isn't that all we, as a man, isn't that what you're supposed to do, is macho and take a baseball bat?
I'll tell you a funny story. I had a guy get mad at me on the road the other night. I was coming home, block from my house. We stop at a red light. He jumps out of his car, comes to my window on my truck, and is banging on the window. And I don't mean a little bit. I thought he was going to break the window.
When was this?
It was about a week ago.
Oh, wow.
And I thought he was going to break the window.
Wow.
And I remember thinking to myself, right, because the old me would have been, oh, dude, it's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
But the new me was just looking at him going, I wonder what kind of dope you're on to think it's okay to jump out of your car, come over 3 lanes to a guy you don't know, and start pounding on his window.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, the light turned green, and I drove away.
Fortunately for him, too.
Well, yeah. Well, that's
the old days. How many firearms would you have had in your car?
Exactly. It's just
like a dynamite in the car.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been an issue, right? There would have been, what's the body count?
Yeah.
But now it's just like, oh, well. And I actually look at people when they lose their shiznit and wonder, wow, how can you live like that?
Yeah.
Like the guy who spoke today about getting in a fight with his wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how he let it build up for 3 days and then they just went at it.
Yeah.
I haven't fought with my wife anywhere close to that in probably 15 years.
Yeah.
Because A, is this the hill I want to die on? No. And I've learned to say, oh, well.
Yeah. Well, there's consequences. I think you just get older and you feel it, and you're younger. I didn't really feel consequences. I didn't really.
And I didn't care
No.
about the consequences.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they didn't mean anything because I hadn't experienced what consequences really are.
Yeah, right, correct. Yeah.
And now
exactly.
you look around and you go, I got a wife, I got kids, I'm going to risk all that over this? No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
And how much are you going to truly gain?
Yeah, nothing. Right. So why do it?
Why-
It's like going to a strip club. What's the best thing that can happen? Nothing.
Nothing.
What's the worst thing? Everything else.
everything.
Why would you go?
Everything could go.
Everything could go wrong there. You know, and you talk about this fifth step and writing it down and then speaking it to somebody. I remember when I spoke my fifth step, the first few things that I covered, and Glenn, our sponsor, I'm thinking it's the worst thing he'd ever heard. And he's like, is that all? I'm like,
It's enough.
yeah. He goes, oh, that's okay. He goes, what do you think? That's bad? I go, well, it's not good. He goes, but it's nowhere near bad. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. And he goes to me, can you fix any of it? No. He says, okay, let it go.
Yeah.
You know, we get down to making amends. You make amends to everybody you just listed. And most of them are going to tell you where to go and how to get there. So be ready for that.
Yeah, right.
And he goes, and the ones that don't, you should build lifetime friendships with. And it's worked out exactly that way.
Isn't that fascinating? Well, and could you have heard it from another non-drunk?
No.
Could you have heard it from a priest?
No.
Would it have been?
No.
Yeah. See,
Because
interesting?
you haven't walked in my shoes. I don't trust you. I don't believe you. And I know you have no idea.
Well, I think that's the magic of the program, because a healthy sponsor friendship situation like that, the sponsor's done that with you. They've already confided in that trust, and they've shared maybe some of that real life that they have with you to build that trust and go, look, you've done it. Guess what? You've opened the door for me to do it. And then I see how happy you are after you've done it. It's even more attractive. It's not promotion, right?
I cut 200 pounds of weight off my back that day.
Yeah.
And when he said to me, there's no scale to balance good and bad. You've done what you've done. You're only 28, or I was 30 at the time.
Yeah.
So you've got the rest of
So
your
young.
life.
So young.
You got the rest of your life to be an example and pay it forward.
Yeah.
And he goes, you can't fix what has happened. Nobody has a time machine. And even if you did, would you? No, probably not, because it took all of this to get you here now.
Yeah, right.
He goes, nobody plans to go to AA out of high school.
No.
Right? And this is not a Holiday Inn where we want to sign up and make reservations. You just come because you have nowhere else to go.
Right.
Now that you're here, now that you've let all this go forward and help others.
Yeah. Well, how about what we heard today too? I think it's interesting. You know, doing a 5 is great. That first one is great. But how about the again, what we heard was a 5 needs to be done again. You know?
Yeah.
There has to be done. There's continuous work on it. It's not just done when you're 2
No.
years sober.
No, it's continuous. Because there are things that if you're wrong, you don't promptly admit.
Yeah.
And there are things that happen to you while you're quote unquote off the radar that you think it's better nobody knows. And what I have found is I don't like my bag full. I get rid of that. I'm drama adverse, and I like to just be on the radar all the time, you know, so everybody knows everything. If be transparent is the easiest way to go. You have nothing to explain.
Yeah. Well, and I think if you've worked those steps where I think it creeps back into the fighting, the lying, the cheating, the moral problems are based upon fear. And as long as I've allowed a higher power, God, whatever you want to call it, is managing that fear and is going to supply whatever I'm going to get, I need. I'm not afraid anymore.
Right.
Even if you took all my money away. I mean, you're a tax person, Tony. What happens when people talk about their money? What happens to them?
They get afraid.
Yeah, because it's never
Very
gonna,
powerful. It's never enough.
Never enough.
And I will tell you, having been on both sides, I've been homeless and I've been successful. And money changes you by making you more of who you are.
Yeah.
If you're an ass, you're going to be a bigger ass. And if you're a giver, you're going to be a bigger giver. I like to think that it just allows you to help more people. Mm-hmm. And if you look at it like it's all mine, 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 you can't take it with you.
No.
I watch people. My mother-in-law, she's got $3 million in the bank and she's 90. And you talk to her, she's dead broke. She won't.
That's our sponsor too.
Right. She won't spend.
That's our old sponsor had the same thing.
Yeah.
He was
And
dead
so,
broke.
so what
Go
happened?
buy yourself a shirt.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah. And now you can't take it with you either.
No, he's done.
So I was talking to her. She says, I really wanted to leave a nice inheritance for my children. I said, Mom, your children are 60. We have everything. We're all working. Nobody's in prison.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a great job. Our kids are in their 30s now. Mom,
Wow.
You can spend a little bit of money.
Hell yeah.
I said, don't take it the wrong way, but you ain't going out spending your life.
Yeah.
If you're 90, I'll give you 10 years. If you're broke at 100, I'll cover it.
Yeah.
Go
on that boat ride. Huh?
Yeah, do something. Yeah.
Go on that cruise. Experience.
I was talking to my wife about it, and I said, equity is for the young.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to die with a house full of equity. It does you nothing.
Yeah.
You raise your kids, do that, and when you retire, hey, put that money in a bank. Go rent anywhere you want, travel, live your life. Don't be a slave to one place.
Yeah.
The thing about when you get a fifth step to me is once you realize that there's no guilt over it and you can let it go and just now your job is to pay it forward, you don't look in the mirror anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to some people I did some horrible things to, and I reminded them of the horrible things I did before I made amends. I didn't just say, hey, I'm going to make amends to you, because you have to tell them why.
Right.
And a couple of them, that the worst ones I did, we're still friends.
I had the same experience.
Yeah.
And they didn't even remember.
Right. Right. They didn't remember. Well, these
I
guys
did.
remembered, but I remembered.
Some of them you did. Well, some of them.
I remembered.
Some of this is being recorded, Tony.
I know.
I don't want your lawyer to pick this up.
There was no commission of any crimes here.
Thing you comment on that dumb podcast?
Yeah, this is just more of a I'm borrowing your car, not bringing it back and selling it while you're away. Five times.
Is there a problem with that?
Yeah, he didn't have a problem with it, apparently.
He's such a meth head. It's a meth head move.
So funny. Anyway, I don't. I look back now at my earlier sobriety and the footwork you have to put in to get to longer term sobriety. Too many people go to meetings, read the book once, run through the steps, and think that's it.
Right.
And they don't understand that you have to put the work in at the beginning a lot.
God, well, and even this, we were my book study. We were talking about Hank Parkson. He wrote To the Employers. I've mentioned him before. And that guy died. He was 4 years. He wrote a part of the book, and he died drunk. Mm-hmm. He detailed out his own death.
Right. Yeah. Move towards what you picture.
You can't skimp anywhere, even with somebody that is. I remember hearing this even in my little SB 38 or alcohol program I had to go through, and I'd hear guys that say, even those meetings, they've memorized the book, but they drank again.
Yeah.
They memorized the material, that they drank again and died. And how do you get that through to a newcomer? It's not just this breeze through. It's like you've got to. It's rubber to the road.
I don't want to. If you memorize the book, you're not staying sober. You can quote like it's the Bible, you're not staying sober. Why? Because you're too busy memorizing and not doing.
Yeah.
I don't memorize the book. I take the book to bring it into service in other people's lives and my own life.
Yeah.
If you said to me, hey, read a portion of chapter 5, I don't have that to memory, but I do know what it means, and I do understand all the steps and all the traditions. Chapter 3, the same thing. You have to take that and do something with it. But I see a newcomer who can give me every hip, slick, and cool message that he's memorized.
Yeah.
It does not make me want to think he's going to stay sober. I'd rather the guy say, this is how it makes me feel.
Yeah, right.
This is what I understand it to say.
Yeah.
Because feelings
Isn't that the truth?
is the only way to make this program work.
Well, I'm going to finally, I think if I really feel a feeling, I can see where I'm wrong. Or not wrong, but I can just see where I get some clarity.
Oh,
I guess.
yeah.
My feelings can give me some clarity on a situation where I may be masking or hiding. Because I hear my own story and other people I've talked with, it's right there. It's clear. The inventory's done. This is what you got to do. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Just because we feel it, and then if it's something we don't want to do, it feels bad or awkward, right?
Do it anyway.
Right.
It feels so awkward. You got to do it. I did it. Tony did it. Let's all do it together. And I think one thing that Glenn was beautiful on too was he'd go, well, call me after the thing happened.
Right.
After you do that thing, let's reconvene. And that's a beautiful circle on that whole
Life
component.
begins after your comfort zone is ended.
Oh
right?
God. Well, and think of what we heard today. Somebody going through jail and all. Isn't that uncomfortable enough? Getting arrested on his way to China or whatever.
Apparently not. Apparently
no,
not.
that's not. Wasn't no. Or old friend John's girlfriend in and out, and she woke up with losing her arm. Like that's what it took. We pulled you out of the Jeep, but where's my arm? We had to take it off you because you would have died. Okay, well maybe I do have a problem. Like
That's what it takes.
how about I'd rather have an uncomfortable conversation with my taxes.
I wish.
and my money.
I wish.
I'm so scared of doing than fucking going losing my arm in a Jeep accident because I'm
wish.
drunk and hiding from those feelings and hiding from who I am.
It's funny how you can get pointers throughout your life if you're listening and looking. I was in the car the other day and this song came on called Note to Self.
Yeah.
And it starts out with a truck only goes so far on half a tank. If it sounds like if it doesn't sound like a good idea, it probably ain't. It says you can't have somebody be made for you. God ain't gonna do the praying for you, right? The whiskey is best left up on the shelf. And I'm listening to this going,
Wow.
where the hell did this guy?
Is that Joe Walsh? No, who wrote that?
No,
Who wrote
it's a I don't know his name, but it's a country song called Note to Self.
Cool.
And the lyrics were just.
Oh boy.
I'm like, okay, God, God
Yeah.
puts these things in your life that you can ignore
Right.
or listen to.
Right.
And I mean, I'm just tooling down the road, fat, dumb, and happy, not really paying attention. All of a sudden, the song comes on. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I need to hear that.
And I played it again. And, what?
I need to.
And I'm just like, okay, got it. If it sounds like it doesn't sound like a good idea, probably ain't.
Yeah. Well,
But I love that. God ain't gonna do the praying for you.
yeah.
And you can't have somebody be made for you. Another great one is, she may love you, but she won't like you all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Story of my wife.
So funny. Well, I love 5. I love it. I think it's the first, real component of
Doing something.
doing something in this program and being able to be okay with those actions
And continue
and it's
moving
safe.
forward.
And continue doing it. And guess what? Now I realize, and I think even with more clarity, where my feelings were the impetus for my cocktails. Like
Right.
again, this fighting with the wife or the money or the
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely.
All that stuff. Look, I don't have to let my feelings dictate my behavior today.
Correct.
And that to me is one of the biggest beauties of this step.
And when you learn to channel that feeling into doing some other trigger, because alcohol never made anything better for me.
Yeah.
Never. It just made it worse because it just delayed the facing. The
Yeah.
sooner you can face the music, the softer the music is.
That's what.
The
so funny.
longer you let it
I've never
go,
heard
the
it put like
louder
that.
it gets, right?
That's so true.
So it's like, okay, I gotta go do this. It's like a bad tooth. You don't do anything. Okay, now you need a crown. You don't do anything. Now you need a root canal. Oh, you're David Crosby. You don't do anything. Pus goes into your brain and you die.
Oof, now you're planning a funeral.
Yeah,
You're-
to me, that's the dumbest thing. I got millions of dollars, but I ain't going to fix this tooth. It's the same.
I can't pay for my sobriety, is what you're saying?
Yeah, you can't buy it. You just
I have
can't.
to just do it, don't I?
Yeah. Plenty of rock stars out there that died rich and alone. Michael Jackson, great line.
I
I'm worth $1
know.
billion. I die alone in my own room with a doctor pumping me full of dope.
It's so sad. Little skinny man boy.
Oh,
at
but
50.
didn't have a friend in the world.
I know.
Didn't have a friend
that
in the
would
world.
tell him the truth.
Yeah.
They all want. As long
all
as the money's,
cult-hangers.
the money's coming in, I'm fine, Mike. Keep doing what you want to do, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm so glad that this program brought the truth.
Yes.
Continues to bring the truth.
Yes.
And continues to bring friendship. And Tony, it's great seeing you again.
Good to see you
here.
again, brother. It's a good
We'll
time.
keep on rocking these steps out and having a little chat.
Sounds great. We'll see you again real soon.
Sounds
Stay out
good.
of trouble.
Thanks, Tone.
See ya. All right.